Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So today what we're going to do is we're going to be going over how to draw a portrait. Okay? Now, there are many different ways on how to draw a portrait online. All right? Now, I've looked at a couple different ones. I've tried a couple different ones as well, but I found that this process actually gives you the closest to a realistic portrait as well as possible. So what the first thing I want to talk about is I need to be able to draw light. Okay? So what happens is if you draw dark, you can kind of see it here. We're going to be erasing a little bit later. Okay? Now as you can kind of see, the dark, you can still see. This is what I call ghost lines. It's like when they're there but they're not there. The light one does come off, okay? And we need to be able to do that, all right? All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put 2 lines in. Now, I don't want you to go up too high, and I don't want you to go up too low, because this is gonna be where our face is. So we're gonna put our face here and here, okay? Gives us plenty of room for hair and plenty of room for a neck and shoulders, okay? So we're gonna do that. Actually, I'm gonna move mine just a teeny bit. See how light it was? Just right up here. There we go. Nice and light. All right. So we're gonna put 2 lines there. This is going to be right here. This is gonna be your hairline. Yes, you do need to write down these words. Hairline, and this is gonna be the bottom of your chin. Okay. All right. Next, so we're going to be doing measurements. And what you're going to need to do is we're going to be measuring with our fingers. You don't need a ruler in order to do this, okay? Easy technique. So what we're going to do is we're going to call what's estimating. Okay, yeah, that's a math term. We're going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out where do we think the middle is and take our 2 fingers and kind of place them in there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to see if that matches up with the top and the bottom. Okay, if for some reason you go and you're like, oh, it definitely doesn't go there, all right, so I'm going to place it here, my pencil here. Yep, that's kind of right there. Lightly put a line. So this line right there is the bottom of the eye. Not the top, not the middle, the bottom of the eye. Okay, and this is actually half of that, the top and the bottom. Okay. Next, all right, a few more other lines that we're going to do. We need to find thirds of this. You're like, well, how do we do that? Well, it's kind of the same way. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure out, see if that, nope, too big. Gotta go back down, smaller. Hey, hot dog. That one was a little bit better. Okay. Now, these are thirds. This one right here, okay, so we're going to call this 2/3, okay, is the bottom of your nose, okay, and this one up here, we'll call this 1/3. This one's going to be your eyebrow, all right. So far, all of these lines are very light. Now, next what we're going to do is we're going to do a straight line straight down. Now, I am not very good at doing lines directly down. So we're going to take this and I'm going to go straight and go a little bit up. Okay. I'll turn it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. This is the center. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out, so this is kind of give us the, left and the right of the head. Oops, excuse me. So now we need to know how wide. So we know that this right here is the face, all right? And we'll figure out how high the actual head is a little bit later once we put it in the eyes, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to measure the 1/3, okay? This is tricky. You're going to hold on to it turn your head and you're going to place it on the side of the middle, okay? So here's that middle line. That's the half, okay? And it's going to be 1/3 out. So let's go here. Don't move your fingers. There we go, okay? So let's make sure that's even. Oops. Then you come in a little bit more. That looks a little bit better. Okay, now that's how wide our head is, all right? Now, when you're looking at a picture, all right, what you need to do is you need to look at the jawline, okay, and which direction does their hairline kind of go, okay? Sometimes people have like a little wider heads here, a little smaller. For guys, okay, guys tend to have more angled, okay, an angle jaw. Girls or gals, okay, gals tend to have more curve, okay. Curve. See how there we go. Sorry. It's early. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I am going to choose. You know what? I'm gonna do a girl, but it's okay because you guys are gonna practice a guy. So what we're gonna do is this is the bottom of the chin. Now we want to make the chin a little bit wide. So you can make a little line and we're gonna curve this up. Okay, there we go. Now I'm gonna give you a trick. All right. A lot of times when people draw the other half, it doesn't always match up. Okay. One way that you can do this is you notice how we always draw gray on one side, then we kind of go against the grain. Another one, if you turn your picture around and you're on your natural side, you will get a better, kind of drawing. Now, we're drawing light on all of this because you can go back and you can erase. And all of this is done lightly, okay? Until we start getting into like, hey, this is it. Let's start drawing heavily, okay? All right, we're going to take this and we're going to make this more of an egg shape, so a little bit, wider on the top. Come down. Oh, by the way, if you hear the band in the background, don't worry. I'm just giving you a heads up just in case. Get it? Heads up. Sorry. It's too funny for me. Okay. So we've got this. All right. Next thing, let's put in the eyes, okay? And then we'll go from there. So we're going to put in a couple of lines. So this is going to be the bottom of the line. This is our eyebrow. So technically our eyes are going to be right above this, okay? And this is going to help determine how high our head is going to be, okay? So we're first going to take this space and we're going to divide it in half, okay? You can eyeball it. Oh, okay, I promise I'll stop. Okay, or you can measure it out, like this one's a little bit over, a little bit. Actually, I think I need to go right in the center. There we go. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, and I want you to go up a little higher. Okay, same thing with this size. All right. Actually, that was a lot easier. Put the 3 in, okay, and see how kind of like I can see how it is. Let's go straight up. Okay. All right, so that is going to be the center of our eyes. Creepy, I know. It's just how it is. Now, we got to figure out where is the half of this. So we're trying to make this a 4. So I'm going to put my fingers in, kind of put it into the center, and I'm going to say right here. Center of this one is here. Okay, center of here. And then center of here. Okay. All right. Now what we need to do is we're still drawing light. We're going to draw the eyes. Okay. Now, first thing I want you to know is this bottom line is the bottom of the eye. Okay. Remember, it's not the center, it's the bottom. Now, when you draw eyes, they're like almonds. Okay. Some may be bigger almonds, some might be smaller almonds, But regardless of the almond that you draw or when you're looking at your picture, okay, you gotta put in that little eye duct, okay? So it's a little eye duct, it's a little extra curve, okay? So we gotta put that in. So it kind of looks like an almond slash lemon. All right, so let's go in and we're gonna put the bottom of the eye in first. Bottom of the eye is just gonna rest on the bottom. Now this is the very edge of the eye, this is the very other edge. So we're going to put in the edge of our eyes. I'm going to leave a little space because I want to put in the eye duct. Eye duct is kind of like a little C. All right. Now we're going to go up and over for our eyes. Okay. Up and over for our eyes. Okay. Now, reason why we drew light on those, okay, because we can do this. See? It shouldn't be so bad. All right, so we're going to get rid of those. All right, to do the eyeballs. All right, now just so you guys know, for eyes, we have a pupil and we have the iris. Okay, the pupil is the black part and the iris is the color part. You never see the whole iris like this. Like you're never gonna see it like this. This is creepy. Okay, if you see it like this, that means the eyes are really big. Okay, so we kind of tend to see like part of it. Okay, you might see none of the top and like the bottom is just curved around. That is possible, or you might not see the top and the bottom. So, and it's always big enough where you just have a little bit on the sides. Okay. All right. Now the next part, the iris. Okay, a couple things I want you to know about an iris. Okay, one is the smaller the iris, the more likely you probably have a headache. Okay, if you've ever seen when you're in like really bright light, you go look at the mirror, it's really small, and then when you have a headache, which was trying to get all that light out, you go look, it's even smaller. So you want to have like a medium size because a large one actually is not good too. Okay, so we're gonna just kind of color in a nice medium one, not pressing too hard, okay? Just, medium. Now, the next part is shading it, okay? Now, so far it looks creepy. Not gonna lie, it does, all right? All right, so what we want to do is we want to determine what shade is this. Is it a light color, is it dark color? So I'm gonna go with, let's pretend that this is like a hazel. So that's kind of like that happy middle. Part brown, part green, part blue, and it's part of it. Okay, so we're gonna kind of fill that in. Now, one thing about eyes is they have these like little ribs in them. Okay, so we're gonna kind of put some of these ribs in them. So far, it's getting good. Okay, we're gonna do this way. As I said, I'm sorry if you can hear the band. Uh, it's a little muddy over there. So we're gonna put this in. We're gonna come out a little bit. Still looks a little creepy. It's okay. Now next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in some shading on the top. Okay? Because what happens is underneath, it actually has a little bit of shading in the eyelid. Okay? So far, doesn't look like much, right? Okay, ready? Here we go. I'm gonna go a little heavier on the eyelid. Okay. Smudge it in a little bit, right? Go a little heavier. Now we're going to go up above it. Now each person has a little different, okay? This is the eyelid. Tends to start right above where the eye duct is and comes up and out, okay? Same thing on the other side. Up and out. You like the curves, okay? So far so good, right? Yeah. Now this is where we can tell how tall the head is. So the eyes are in the middle. Eyes in middle of head. Like how it just is. So we're going to measure from the chin to the middle of the eyes. So it's going to be like a half of the whatever above, okay? And so when we go back up here, notice how all of a sudden it's going to raise this, okay? This is the top of the head. This is our hairline, all right? Yeah, it's a forehead. People tend to have huge foreheads. They may be a little bit different if they have what's called a widow peak, if it comes down a little bit. All determines on that person. Okay, so let's go into the eyebrows. Eyebrows tend to start right, see where that line is? Right on the, kind of in line, a little in the front of our eyes. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a very soft circle on either side. Okay, and then we're going to put the direction of the eyebrows. Now eyebrows come in all sorts of like shapes. It all depends on like how you shape your eyebrows or you don't shape it. Okay, just so you guys know, guys have a little thicker eyebrows, girls have like thinner. So let's kind of go over here. So guys have thicker eyebrow, okay, and gals have thinner eyebrow, okay. So that's the thing. All right, so we're gonna angle them. Tend to be up and down. Some have out and down, all different ways. Okay, up and put down. They taper at the like right after your eyes. Now, please don't just go in and like color them in like they're crazy. They're actually lines because they're individual hairs. So take the time and put them in. They taper off. Okay. There we are. One eyebrow. If you're, there are some people out there that have like unibrows. You can definitely certainly go in and add that in if you have a little bit more. All right, there we go. Oops, I think this side needs a little bit more of a work on it. Okay, so we have those. All right, now we can get rid of this side and this side. Maybe don't erase it too much so you guys can actually remember where they are. Okay, next, let's do the nose. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put these little lines here. Okay, these little lines indicate that the nose is coming down this way. Okay, now how to draw a nose. Start with, now each person's nose is different. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Okay, some people have wider noses, some people have petite noses. Okay, so you really need to look at that person's nose. But this is how to do it. Most noses, okay, are from the width of an eye. Okay, so it's like you can fit it right there. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to have a circle, smaller circle, smaller circle. Notice that I drew very soft. Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to put the curve here. Okay, now the bottom of the nose comes down. I don't know what's that called, but it's the part where it joins. Okay, and then it comes up. Now each person's nostrils are different. You gotta look at the picture. Come up and curl in. It's almost like a really wavy M. Curve up, curve in. Okay. Now, some of this other stuff is really shading. So we're going to kind of add a little bit of shading right here. Let's see if I can erase some of this. Okay. Well, starting to hear the band. Okay. So we're going to kind of come here. We're going to shade just a little bit. Okay. It's almost like a, down and up. Now we don't want to go too crazy. All right. To shade. There we are. Kind of comes down. All right. There we are. All right. Now underneath your nose, you're gonna add a little bit of shading. There you go. Oh, I forgot one more thing. There is a small line underneath your eye to make it look a little bit more 3D. There we go. Okay. There we are. Now, let's work on the lips. So the lips are interesting, okay? Because each person, I know, everyone has different lips. Each person's lips are different. They might be fuller, thinner. I'm going to teach you how to do uh, just a plain closed mouth, okay, just be aware that if they're smiling, some of these proportions may be a little different. Okay, so where do we place this? It's actually the lip line is 1/3 down from here. Okay, so we're gonna kind of like measure it out. So let's put our fingers in. Let's see if we can figure out where a third would be. So I can fit in 3 fingers. If I couldn't, I might move them out. So here's kind of like that third line. That's the lip line. The edge of our smile, the very, very, very edge, does not mean that it goes all the way to it. It's actually right where our pupils are. So if we kind of did this line down, woo, that's where that would be. Okay. Now, how to do lips? It all depends on, yes, the person, how big these circles are going to be. Okay. So most lips have a little dip here, and then bring that out, and then they kind of go down toward the crease. Okay. Some are bigger, some are smaller. All right. Underneath tends to be a little bit of a lower. Okay. And they come out. Now, in regards to the bottom line, we don't want to put the whole lip. Let's not get crazy. Just put a little bit, almost like it indicates that it's there. Now, for lips, they are a different color, so I like to shade them in just a little bit, okay? And they do have some lines that come up here that come out, okay? All right, beautiful. So we can probably erase some of this. There we are. Up. I don't know what this is. That's like the part that goes under the nose, but let's put that in, okay? Kind of really starting to develop, right? Right, okay. So we're going to smooth this eye out a little bit more. Maybe add a little bit more shading underneath the eye. All right. Let's talk about the ears, okay? Your ears are actually from the bottom of your nose, okay, to about where the eyebrow is, okay? So bottom of the nose to ear. Now, most ears, okay, kind of look like C's. Some people, okay, have attached lobes, which go straight over, and some have detached, which come over here. Okay, what I tend to do is I go up, okay, come out, and I curve. All right, so that would be like an ear. Now, if you're a guy, you're probably going to see part of your ear. If you're a girl, you might not see it. Okay, I'm going to curve this through. There we go. All right, so we have ears. All right, so we know that's at the top of the eyebrow, okay, and bottom of the nose. All right. Where do our actual necks come? All right, so just so you know, guys tend to have a wider neck. Okay. Girls tend to have a little bit thinner, not too thin, okay? So what is wider? Wider means a little bit more toward the ears. Girls have a little bit more closer to where the eye is. And they curve, okay? They curve out. All right, come down and around. All right, you don't want it to be too thin. Okay, your actual uh, shoulders. Okay, because then it won't look natural. All right, there we are. There we go. Okay, let's talk about doing the hair. Okay, actually, let's put this side in just because. Now, so far, still kind of looks thin, right? Trust me. Let's get there. So, I provided with a couple of different examples on the next slide, okay? Some hair. But I would highly suggest that you look up examples online on what hair looks like, okay? Look at your example. We're not like coloring it in like solid, okay? So it's like one just picture. I want you to put in a couple of lines that show the direction of your hair. So for example, I'm going to do one side girl, one side boy. It's going to be kind of weird. I'm going to start a little bit lower than where that hairline is, okay? And I'm going to start putting in where the hair is. So let's say we have hair that kind of flows. And by the way, okay, Hair is kind of like a fluffy helmet, okay? It's going to go around the shape of the head. All right. Now remember, hair doesn't sprout right out at the top of your head. There is a distance that we kind of see. This is where the actual forehead goes. So let's kind of put in, have them apart here. There we go. All right. And we're going to put in a couple of chunks. Now, I should have put the ear on the other side. Okay. For girls, we're not probably going to see as much. All right. Underneath tends to be a little bit darker. Okay, just so you guys know. Okay, so you kind of see that. We have what's called lowlights and highlights. All right, kind of creepy. Like, can you kind of see the girl hair? Okay, let's do guys' hair. Guy hair tend to be a little bit more shape. Okay, they tend to have like sideburns, so you might have to put in some sideburns. Okay, and they kind of curve around. All right, see if I can. Sideburns, so we have the ear. Okay, and I gotta cover the one side. There we go, so I can really get into this guy. Now, with guys, you might have to put like, see how it's starting to look like that? There we go, let's put the ear in. Okay. All right, we'll put a couple of hairs in the direction that it's going. Oh, he has a nice haircut. And look at, that guy's hair. All right, there we are. Now, all right, last thing that you want to do is you want to put a little shading in, okay? So the shading tends to be under the hairline, very lightly, okay? As I'm kind of like scribbling it because I'm going to go in with my finger and kind of blend it around the sides, okay? If you have hair coming down, you kind of want to do this. For cheekbones, they tend to be, so I'm going to make this cheekbone a little bit more angled on my guy side, okay? Yeah, see, that's totally looking like a little bit more man. Okay, and they have like a broader chin. Okay, you want to go in and shade in a little bit, not too dark because you don't want it to be like they look like they're dirty. You just want it to look like they've got a little bit of extra shading. Like the mouth, underneath here, it's a little bit. Your eyes, depending on which way the light is coming, might have a little bit more shading on it, okay? Hair, depending on what you have, might have a darker shade on it. Okay, so last thing I want to go over is I just want to show you two examples, okay, of what this would look like. And please remember that for this, you do need all of your notes. Oh, one more thing. This is the 1/3, okay, on either side. All right. So I was practicing around. And you can kind of see this one has, not as much detail to it. When you add in the specific details to that person, it starts to really come alive, okay? Even like adding a little bit more shading to lips, and more hair, obviously, so it's not like half guy, half girl, okay? It does come out a little bit better. Even like this one. Whoops, sorry, that's the bell. Okay, this one just putting a little bit more facial hair. Now this gentleman had more, bigger cheeks, so I really rounded them out. Okay, and I went and I looked in, and my image that I was looking at, I was really looking at the eyes and seeing the shading and how his nose kind of went. Okay, that's a plain paper. All right, kind of same with her. All right, so please, take it slow, draw light, okay, and then get darker. As you may have noticed that as I was kind of getting like a little bit more detailed, I was starting to press a little harder, which is fine. Don't forget when you're done, okay, or and through the process, You erase your lines as you go through, okay? And really look at your reference, all right? And that should be it. Ooh, she's got like big lips. Love it. All right, when you're done with this, please upload a picture of this, and then you're good to go to the next step.